In this video we're going to cover some basic sewing machine maintenance, cleaning, oiling, checking the tension and also to check the timing of the machine. First thing is to remove the top left hand cover. So on this machine I've already removed the screw and we can take that part off. There's a couple of places that you could put a drop of oil. One is here on the top of this shaft. Another one is just at the bottom of this shaft. That shaft is the one that travels vertically up and down on the machine, and on the bottom of that shaft is the needle. You could also put a drop of oil here where it pivots, and again here where it pivots. Another drop here and a drop here. On this machine it's less crucial because this part is nylon. Another place you could oil and clean is under the needle plate. I must stress, do not oil the machine unless you've cleaned it first. And if you're unsure about doing it, take it to somebody that can do it professionally. So this machine is brand new, so it's absolutely spotlessly clean. The best way is to remove any lint, any dust, rather than blow it around or move it around inside the machine. So remove the bobbin case, clean around inside this area here. You must check the condition of the bobbin case. On this machine, the bobbin case is brand new, but this is an old bobbin case, and you can see here that there's a lot of damage in this area where the needle's constantly been hitting it. Some more damage here and here. I don't think we can pick it up on the camera, but there's some damage across this surface here as well. So this usually happens because the bobbin case stopper is set in the wrong position and the bobbin case is allowed to actually rotate. So every time you break a needle, it's possible that you're doing a bit of damage to the bobbin case. So if your bobbin case looks like this, then it's probably beyond repair and it's probably easier to just get a brand new one. It is possible to get some very, very fine sandpaper and just polish this area here and make it all smooth again. But if it's rough like this, the thread will keep catching on it and your machine's going to keep tangling up. So this bobbin case would probably be beyond repair. The bobbin case stopper is this part here. We'll zoom in on that bit. And you can see that this part of the bobbin case here touches against the bobbin case stopper, and it should stop the bobbin case from turning. Very often with top loading machines, they come out the factory where this part is not adjusted perfectly, and it's possible to actually push this around and it to just slip past like that. That would then mean that the needle would come down and hit the bobbin case. So if your bobbin case is badly damaged and you can find that you can actually push that past, you need to just adjust this screw, undo that screw and push this part forward just a little bit and do the screw up again until it's impossible for you to push that past. It's very common in sewing machines for them to leave the factory without that quite set right. Okay, so let's put the machine back together now. You don't really want to get any oil in this area. If you get too much oil in there, the thread will keep catching on the oil. So Just make sure you get your bobbin case back in the right position with the bobbin case stopper touching the right place on the bobbin case. Okay, now so we're going to check the tension on the sewing machine. The machine's all threaded up correctly, so we're just going to sew a sample. So on the top of the fabric it all looks fine. Underneath the fabric we can see that we've got some of the top thread showing on the bottom of the fabric. So we can see some grey and some pink. The bobbin thread is grey and the top thread is pink. So we know that the tension on the top thread is insufficient by comparison to the bottom thread. So as we don't want to adjust the bobbin thread or the bottom thread tension, we're going to have to make it up using the top thread tension. So forgetting about what the numbers say on our thread tensioner, we need to increase that tension and make it even tighter. Okay, so the thread tensioner read 4 before, and now I've set it to 5. So we'll see what difference that makes. Okay, so looking at the top, that looks fine. And underneath you can see just a few little flecks of pink on the bottom, which is as good as going to be you're going to get really on a top loading machine. We've got two dissimilar threads there. The top thread is polyester and the bottom one's cotton, so that's probably as good as you're going to get. So the main thing really to remember is ignore what the numbers say on the front of the machine on the thread tensioner. Don't get too preoccupied by that, and just try and balance the tensions out between the top and the bottom. Ideally the number should say 4, but if it says 3, 4, 5 or 6, it really doesn't matter. It just depends on what type of thread you're using, which type of needle, how heavy the fabric is that you're sewing. It really is just a guide. So if it doesn't say 4, don't get too preoccupied by it. So if altering the tensioner on the front of the machine makes no difference to your thread tension or the result on your fabric, the chances are that there's something wrong here. This is your thread tensioner, and we can adjust these numbers here. If we adjusted it right up to 9 and you still get insufficient thread tension to get a decent stitch, the chances are you've got something stuck in between your tension discs. We'll see if we can zoom in and get a good look at the mechanism in there. So your tensioner design might vary, but the principle is always the same. You've got two discs inside here, and as you raise and lower the presser foot, the discs come together. So that's the presser foot up, and then as we lower the presser foot, two discs come together and sandwich on the thread. So if I unthread the machine, so you can see here the thread goes in between these discs, and as you lower the presser foot, the discs squeeze on that thread and apply a certain amount of pressure on the thread. By adjusting this tensioner here and making this number read 5, 6 or 7, those discs are going to squeeze on that thread even tighter. So if adjusting this makes no difference at all, chances are you've got something stuck in between those discs. One of the best ways of getting that out is probably just to blow between the discs. If blowing down here doesn't get it out, then you could try folding a piece of fabric over, putting it in between the discs and just sawing back and forth, and try and dislodge whatever it is that's trapped between those discs out. It's very common to find lumps of thread, silt, all kinds of stuff in those discs. So if you clean those out and just make sure that adjusting the tensioner on the front makes a difference to the thread tension actually on the needle.